Every innovation first began with an idea. Welcome to Tech Founders Stories, where passion meets innovation, the platform where visionary founders share their inspiring journeys. From struggles to successes, they reveal the secrets behind their innovative ventures. Join us as we uncover the stories behind the startups that shape our world.
My name is Victor Ogbonna. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Embedded Systems and Robotics Nigeria. I'm also an undergraduate student of engineering at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. What inspired me to become a tech entrepreneur is the fact that the world is constantly evolving, and since the world is evolving, there's no need for one to be ignorant and be left behind. I believe that, as a human being and as a human being that wants to leave a legacy, there is need to solve problems around you. One thing I'll say is a challenge for my company. My company is Embedded Systems and Robotics Nigeria. It's a hardware company. We do tech startup. So our goal is to educate individuals. For now, STEM students in universities, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So our goal is to educate them on the fundamentals and core principles of robotics and embedded system. And this is not a niche that will just require a laptop and the internet connection. It's one that's capital intensive to an extent. So there's need to purchase things like sensors, actuators, microcontrollers. The list goes on. So I would say right now we are thriving. Majority of what we have put into our companies has been from our personal savings and from family members, right? Like the first step we are taking into solving this problem is this Enugu State Hackathon. Our main goal is just to win it. So we believe that if we win this hackathon, then we are going to have capital to kickstart our mission, and from there we're going to get the feasibility that we want. This is actually a problem. Our problem is actually in two phases: the finance and the system. But I'll say, like, on a large spectrum, that's looking at Nigeria as a whole, there's no support for things like this compared to countries in the West. Enugu State government, as I said earlier, is solving that problem. Right now, our primary challenge is the finance, the capital to continue this startup. Yeah. One of them is when I met my co-founder. So eventually I was glad to see someone that, finally we share the same mindset, we share the same belief. He's also hungry about hardware technology, all right? That is one of the major turning points in my startup. And then secondly, it was when we were actually approved an office space in UNN. So right now you have a professional office space in UNN where we do all our projects. It's more of like a laboratory right now. Okay, so that actually gave us a sense of achievement, because we're like, if these people see our potential and we are able to allocate us an office space, it means that they see our potential, and then it's a nice thing. So it was like an encouragement for us. All right, this is a very, very interesting question. Initially, I was doing too much gra in the sense that I wanted everything to happen so quickly. To an extent, I'm quite sporadic, and I wanted things to just unfold the way I was imagining them to unfold. But then, events happened, and I realized that life is not like that. Things have to take time to mature. Great things take time. I need to actually be consistent in whatever I'm doing. Obviously, I was consistent, but then the pressure to actualize what my vision now was the problem. Yeah. So I think that what I've learned so far is to relax. So far I'm putting the discipline, the consistency, I should just relax. Everything's gonna fall into place. My product so far, when I began this journey, there has been improvement so far, alright? Actually, I'm also a full stack embedded systems and robotics engineer. Compared to now, the first product I built then was, I think it was a prototype car. That was it then. And just one of those little project that an ambitious young engineering guy would want to build, right? I'll say right now, with what we have built so far, there has been a very, very great improvement. Because now my skills are now honed, and at the same time, uh, our most current project, that is one we're currently working on right now, is a self-driving car with AI and computer vision integration. That's actually massive compared to what I built initially. As in, my first product then was just, a prototype vehicle that you can control using wires. So right now, as one advances, as one becomes consistent in a skill set, one actually tends to build more products. Okay, so this actually is a prototype, and we plan to deploy it effectively. We plan to deploy it on a much more massive scale. So there's improvements. We're all about educating students about the fundamentals of robotics and embedded systems. Right now, I love the way everyone is delving into tech. Right now, you see this one is saying that it's delving into AI, web development, graphic design. It's nice, and these are all software skills. But then we are neglecting the hardware. If we focus more on software, who is going to start making our own indigenous smartphones, our own laptops, our own microchips? Africa doesn't have a single microchip company, and that's very, very bad. And this is a problem that we plan to also solve. Our goal now is to spark the interest of individuals in hardware technology. All right, so we are educating them. We are igniting that spark in them. Hardware is also tech. Right now in Nigeria and Enugu, it has not yet been fully adopted. So we are all about that adoption, hardware technology adoption. That's what we're all about right now. We're also about production. We plan in the long run, after we have kickstarted our education program, we plan to also start producing some made in Enugu, made in Nigeria hardware products. We've actually started building some things. Right now, we built a biomedical device that actually detects the degree or the intensity of ultraviolet radiation in the environment. This is helpful for people with albinism. All right. Not just that, we are currently working on a self-driving car prototype with computer vision and AI integration. We've also built, a pulse oximeter measurement system. All right, and we're also building like an electrocardiogram system. So these are like what we are building in our own little ways. So eventually, we are going to educate our students about this. So we're also going to delve into production. And one more thing, one thing that really made me delve into the realm of hardware tech is because of the fact that I'm an engineering student, and in engineering in my school, not just in my school, basically in every school in Nigeria, we are being taught theory. Theory is good. Without adequate practicals, students' creativity eventually becomes, degraded. I'm speaking from experience, because at one point in time, I was so much dealt with. I won't want to use the word dealt with, but the theory was just becoming so much. All right, so before I even gained admission into university, I was in love with getting my hands dirty with electronics, right? When I was in school, that passion died. It literally died. I started forcing myself to do what I once loved doing. So my creativity was already going down because, the atmosphere of theory was just so much. Theory is very good, no doubt, but then we need to get our hands dirty. All right, so that's a nice question. I've been faced with negative feedback, and I'll give you a clear example of that. So in my company right now, it's a hardware company. We don't have majority of materials that we need for this, our company. Things like 3D printers and the rest. So what we do is that we make use of plywood to cut our projects to the required shape. When we post our projects to a group, someone will just come from them and say, "Look at what you are doing," trying to compare us with China. It hits me to an extent, but then I was encouraged. I give myself some encouragement because, as I said before, big things start small. Even as much as I don't have the right materials to start now, it doesn't mean that I shouldn't start at all. Okay, so that one now, it was actually an experience for me because the way the guy put it hurt so deep. But then I was like, even though China is doing theirs, even though their 10-year-old kids are actually doing well in the same hardware space that I'm using cotton and plywood to do, it shouldn't still stop me. Even though the support is not there, even though the funds are not yet there, You're going to be there, but they're not yet there. It shouldn't stop me from actually actualizing my vision with readily available materials. My family, they were in support of what I was doing, but they were not in support of the time I was doing it. My father will always tell me, Victor, this thing you're doing, when you're done with school, you have enough time to do what you're doing. In short, it's kind of a crazy story. Let me just put it that way. It's kind of a crazy story. I believe that right now is the best time for me to do whatever I want to do, especially as relates to my startup. My startup right now is student-oriented, so I'm still in the system that have the audience, all right? I still have the energy too, and I am in a state that's actually empowering student-based startups. So shout out to Enugu State government for that. So my family, I say right now, they understand the vision more clearly than when I began initially, alright? Because then, like Victor, leave this thing you're doing, focus more on books. But now they've seen how religious I'm actually taking this startup right now. So having seen that, they've given me that support right now. But initially it wasn't so. So they thought I was distracting myself with some kind of extracurricular activities. But then I am trying to solve a problem that not just I face, student faces also. I should be in final year mechanical engineering now in UNM, but then I switched to mechatronics. Even after switching, I think this is the second year now. I haven't yet begun academic activities. What I've been doing was I've been trying to learn more about the fundamentals and the core principles of robotics and embedded systems. I realized that many students, I'm going to use my faculty as an example in engineering. Many of them said, if you interact with them, many of them they've lost their drive, because if they are just being taught in class without proper hands-on engagements, how will they properly learn? How will they solve problems? Okay, and this is one issue I plan to tackle. This is one issue my startup wants to tackle. So our goal is to tackle it from Enugu here, from tertiary institutions here in Enugu, and the smart schools here in Enugu too, and eventually to Nigeria as a whole, Africa as a whole, to the world as a whole. The plan there is that within the next 5 years, we want to have educated, or we want our presence to be in every tertiary institution in Enugu. Like, we want to have trained them. We're looking forward to have trained over 10,000 students in the next 5 years. So we want to train them on hardware technology. After this set 5 years now, we want to dive into production. So we want Enugu to become the base of hardware technology production, right? So we want Nigeria's first smartphone to come from Enugu State. We want Nigeria's first laptop to come from Enugu State. Power bank, everything should come from Enugu State. One thing I think in Enugu we have some manufacturing companies like Inosin. They are doing a great job. At the same time, I would say most of the time, their products are mainly bought from China and assembled here in Nigeria. So like we don't have a specialized electronics manufacturing hub right here in Nigeria. But the plan now for us is that within that second 5 years, we want to delve into production. My company, Embedded Systems and Robotics Nigeria, is a hardware tech company. Thus, it is highly capital intensive. So what I've been doing so far, I've been supporting the company based on my own personal savings and resources from family members. That is how I've been doing it. We are just young, all right? So personally, I'm Part of what I do also is that I'm a project consultant in my school. Okay, so with the resources that I'm also getting from there, I put it back into the company to actually like to make more products, to learn, and also to do to scale up actually. So that's basically how it has been. Personal savings, both from myself and co-founder, and from our family members. The opportunities now for funding, I think the best thing now is just to launch at opportunities. Things like hackathons, things like grants. So right now, what we plan to do, or what we're currently doing right now, is to ensure that we participate in this Enugu campus hackathon. So that's actually a very viable way to utilize the opportunities that Enugu state government is giving to us. All right, and we're also pursuing grants. Okay, I think one important thing we did was to register our company. So we've gotten our CAC and gotten all of that. So we believe that before this year ends, we should actually have raised enough capital to scale up our business and our company. What set them apart is how dogmatic they are about their vision, is how serious they take their vision and mandate. I've actually studied some founders, people like Jeff Bezos, like Elon Musk, even Mark Zuckerberg, and I realized that what set them apart is the fact that they have this grit in them. They don't give up. Elon Musk was talking about how he went bankrupt in 2008, how his rockets, how they failed to launch, how they exploded. One thing that stood there was his grit. And me personally, I'm a Christian, so I believe that in as much as one has grit, one should also have God beside him. So for me, I believe number one is God, number two is grit. Believe in that vision, have faith in what you are doing, all right? And then the rest is going to be yeah. View it with God. Most of the time, we have some crazy ideas in our head, and these ideas are God-given ideas. But then we still need God to execute them. We still need God to actually lead us to the right path. We need God to execute it and execute it very, very well. Okay? So the vision is not enough. There's still instruction. There's still need for instruction on how to properly execute that vision, right? So it's just simple. Whatever you're doing, just involve God in it. Just involve Him. He's going to give you the clear vision, it's going to make everything straight for you, right? And even as you are involving God, apply diligence. Even as much as you are involving God, when God gives you instruction, you execute it like thunder, like flash. You understand? So you execute it with speed. So you build with Him, let Him give you the instructions, and then after receiving those instructions, you move with diligence, with consistency, with grit, with focus, with discipline.